Hey Half-Bloods, thanks for being here. William and I have loved filming this podcast. Our first 4 episodes were very raw, we didn't have a firm game plan, and we just had a lot of fun talking about Harry Potter. This podcast was recorded several weeks ago. At the time of recording, we did not have a firm plan on the launch of Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia. At times during the podcast, I may say the games are available and ready to buy. That is a lie. The games will be ready on September 30th. Consider this episode a trial run. So I promise if you stick around, it'll only get better from here. The Half-Blood Pod is an official companion podcast with my game, the Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia. I spent the last 16 years of my life trying to stump my co-host William in Harry Potter Trivia, and over the last half decade, it's evolved into a real-life game that I want to share with more than just William. I want to share it with each of you Half-Bloods. I'm recording this intro after we recorded the pod. I just want to apologize for how rough it is and the heavy breathing into the mic and the fidgeting in the background, and we promise that we'll get better. Just some growing pains as we go through the first one, so don't let this be the last episode you listen to. We're really excited to share this podcast with you, and please give us another chance next week. Welcome, Half-Bloods, to the Half-Blood Pod. These are your hosts. Nope, still not right. We're your hosts, Scott and William. Do you go by William at all times? Are you ever Will?
I go by William. People call me Will whether I tell them to or not.
That's fair.
Which you can call me Will. I don't care.
What I wanted to get done today was go through our own Harry Potter journeys. I feel like it's somewhat enjoyable for other people. I didn't read the first book when it first came out. I know that we had all 3 books before I read, or I had the first 3 books before I read them. And I vividly remember seeing, like, I know now it's a hippogriff, but seeing that creature on the bookshelf and asking my mom repeatedly, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's a new series. You should read it. And I read the first 3 with my dad, and then read half of the 4th one with my dad as well. And that came out in 1999, right? Or 2000. So I was 10 years old. And then he was going too slow, and I couldn't wait. So I started reading it by myself and never really looked back from there. And then 5, 6, and 7, my older sister was the only other person who loved Harry Potter. And so at that point, we had to get, it was, the midnight releases, and we had to get 2 copies because we were both reading it as fast as we could. And I loved every second of it.
Copies and audiobooks.
Exactly. And for from I don't know, age like 12 to like 15, I just couldn't get into any other books, and I just kept reading them over and over and over and over, waiting for the next one to come out. And it wasn't on purpose. I did love Harry Potter, but I didn't love it enough to do that. I just couldn't get into other books, but I liked reading, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just read Harry Potter again. And I feel like I've read the first 3 books 50 times combined, because there was just you could read them so fast, and we were waiting so long for 4, 5, 6, and 7. And they're just so easy to read. I don't know, I've read them so many times. But anyways, I only read the 7th book one time before leaving for college, and I did not take Harry Potter with me to college. So by the time I met you, I had only read Deathly Hallows one time. I'll stop there.
Only once. My journey there is pretty similar. We're the exact same age within a month or so, right? A couple months. You're a couple months older. So I remember by the time I read any of them, the first 3 had come out, right? Because, realistically, I think the first one came out in England in 97, probably. So I was 7 years old, it wasn't on our radar, obviously. And then it blew up, and the first 3 came out so quick. And my parents, I read a lot. I was a kid who my parents threw me a lot of books. I read a lot of books. And it was the thing I liked doing as far as school goes. And so we got them in the summer, probably of 1999 or 2000, around then. Actually, no, it was leading up to the release of the 4th book in 2000. So I was just turned 10 years old, and I got all 3, blew through them in a couple days, sometime in the summer before that 4th book came out, and was immediately like, this is great. This is amazing. Better than the Hardy Boys, because that's what, read a bunch of those. We had AR points at my school, so you could read books and get points, take the quiz about them. You know what I mean? So,
I remember that.
Yeah, and I read plenty of books. But I remember when the fourth book came out, I remember going to a Barnes and Noble in the Arboretum in Austin and going to get the fourth book, and then immediately going to read it, and being annoyed every time I had to get pulled away and do 10-year-old things when you're being told what to do.
Eating was a burden. Sleeping was a burden.
Eating was a burden, yeah. And my son turns 10 in a few months. So,
amazing.
And he's ahead of me. He read through the fourth book last year. So, but yeah, I mean, from the immediate jump, it was just completely perfect. Everything about it was perfect. It was everything you would want in a series as you're a little kid who's reading and thinking like, I'm the same age. Wizards, magic, it was incredible. And I, kind of like you, I have a very obsessive personality. I reread things. I listened. If I get hooked on something, I reread it and do it again and again and again and again and again. So I would reread them all the time. Never stopped rereading them every year.
Is it fair to say that you have a photographic memory, or is that an exaggeration?
I think at this point it's an exaggeration. I don't know about photographic, but like there are some things that I am very, very good at remembering. I'm just good at trivia and like facts and useless knowledge. And so things I really care about, like Harry Potter, that sticks with me. I had great comprehension and like memorization, especially when I was a little kid. So it's why you're looking at the 5th grade geography bee champion, because I remembered what Lake Champlain was. From looking at it one time on a map we got in like 4th grade. And Harry Potter was the same thing. Everything, I just read it again and again and again, and I just wanted to know more.
Well, it's your brain that has brought us here, certainly. So I will attest to your freaky brain. This is a side note, but yeah, looking at the release dates, where again we were both born in 1990. Where we were 9 years old when we had access to all 3 books, and then 4th book, 10 years old, 5th book, 13 years old, 6th book, 15 years old, 7th book, 17 years old. And yeah, you're
the same age as...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your son's just finished the 4th book, and I'm just finishing the 1st book with my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old. And I get asked all the time as I'm talking to other parents and getting excited about reading Harry Potter with our kids, like, what's the perfect age to read Harry Potter? And honestly, the perfect age to read Harry Potter is to be born in 1990 and to have to wait 2 years between every book. And it's so hard to replicate that like today. I don't know how to make my children wait, but they'll like Deathly Hallows so much more as a 16-year-old than they will as a 10-year-old. But I don't know how to pace them through that. So...
Yeah, there's no way you can't replicate. I mean, it's like I'm jealous of people who saw Star Wars in 1977, right? Like you can't replicate that. We are the exact perfect age for something like this. And I've always thought of it like that in those tense. Like it's, there's certain things that just last forever. Star Wars, Harry Potter, certain comic books and things like that, they're never going to die.
I mean, for our generation, we are so blessed to all be witnesses to LeBron James. So we got to witness all of LeBron's career. We're 13 years old, but okay, I'm going to stop.
That's a fact check.
I hope.
A couple things out of the way. We are not a pro LeBron podcast. I got to say, a crab dribble is just a travel for all the Wizards fans out there. And LeBron is a liar. So we'll just get that out of the way. It's the same things like you said. I mean, we would go, like I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters. My younger sisters were a little younger, so it wasn't really like sharing it with them. But my older brother, he's not built like me. He read them, but like he read them once and enjoyed them and was like, all right, cool, move on. Not me. I was obsessed. I was obsessed. And it never died, and it hasn't gone away. I'm 35. It has
well
not
said.
tailed off.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely. I mean, I mentioned both, but it was definitely. I read a lot of books with my dad. I still vividly remember reading like The Princess Bride with him, Chronicles of Narnia, some other awesome, series. But I vividly remember reading specifically the fourth one again when it started to get too slow. But again, I was 10 years old, and so I definitely wasn't putting all the pieces together. And the fourth one is when it becomes a much more adult book, and it was fun to discuss with him after. And then again, five,
Yeah.
6, and 7, there was so much discussion with my sister, and again, no one else in my family, as far as I know, even knows how to read. So we were the only ones discussing it, and it was definitely bonding. So
I get that, and it was actually one of the cool things. My parents did read them too. So like that. Now you
yeah,
mentioned that, like that was cool. Like that, it was such a phenomenon worldwide that like my
true.
parents read them, and like my parents, my parents read books, but like they're boring adults. I wasn't paying attention to anything they were doing. They went to work, they did this, whatever, and fed me, for which I'm very grateful. But they read those books, and that was super cool because they were really interested in something I was interested in, and I could have a conversation with my dad about the books and theorize and all those other stuff.
That's true. That's true. That is a connection point. So then we go to college, and then we serve religious missions, and we end up at the missionary training center together. Do you remember an initial reaction of me? I'm sure you don't. I feel like I have somewhat of initial reaction of like, this man is beautiful, but also he's a little loud and a little opinionated, and I'm not sure how I feel about him. I feel like that was my initial take on Elder William Morris.
Yeah, loud and opinionated sounds like it. I was probably very annoying.
I'm talking like day one. This is like day one.
That was the day one impression.
I'm just saying, like the impression quickly went away. I feel like the impression went away the first time you made fun of Colston, and then I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. So this guy's not Colston.
I don't.
Because you were
companion.
comparing.
Quiet. Yeah. I didn't remember. Like I didn't. You were quiet. I just remember being like. I remember my impression of you was like, you took your shirt off and you were jacked, and I was like, yeah, he's immediately better at definitely important things than I am.
That is the greatest thing.
Like sports.
I'm so glad I asked this question. That was the greatest thing you could have answered. You remember?
I was like, yeah, he's
my abs.
He's jacked. He's definitely better at all sports than I am. Maybe not all sports, but the ones that matter for sure.
Well, you did beat me in horse with your stupid headshot, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So on a mission, you can't really talk to your family, but you get letters from them.
Can
and now. Very true. In 2009, we served real missions, and we wrote letters like real missionaries. And my sister wrote me a letter, and we were friends at this point. And I don't know if we had discussed Harry Potter yet. I don't know if it had come up, but my sister wrote a letter, and just for fun, out of nowhere, wrote some Harry Potter questions. And you got wind of the questions, or I don't know. I don't remember exactly.
I feel like we had discussed Harry Potter. Like we had discussed. I feel like we had. Like we had a lot of time to like talk and stuff. So like we covered like stuff we were all interested in, right?
Fair.
And we probably bonded over that.
So maybe I even asked my sister for questions. I actually don't remember.
I think
I've been thinking,
didn't you? I think
I know
did,
I did after
like,
this.
I was like, we were just talking or something. I remember being like, like, no, I'm like really good at Harry Potter trivia or something, and like, and then like that was great. And then you wrote your sister, who was awesome, to like do that for you, and like write you interesting things, and I think, well, maybe I got this one, and then we got more when you were like, yeah, you can tell the story.
Yeah, we got these questions. Yeah, we did this multiple times. I have every single letter for my mission in a box. I assume one day it'll just crumble up into nothing, but one day maybe I'll take a picture of them or something. But I have all those letters, and I have the letter here. I'm not going to read all of them, but there's one specific question where I was certain that you cheated, and you saw the letter, and you read it, and you got all the answers. And this is the question. The inn in Hogsmeade was headquarters for what event in wizard history? William, what's the answer?
The Goblin Rebellion of 1612.
Yes. And at the time, again, not knowing William's brain and obsession, I thought you cheated. And that was in June of 2009. And I have not stopped trying to stump you in Harry Potter since that day. And it is because of you that this game exists only as a means to try to give something challenging enough to one William Morris.
And sneak peek, it does. It's excellently put together.
I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, I mean, that just, I was blown away. Like, I consider myself a big Harry Potter fan. I went through these again. I'm not going to ask them all because a lot of them.
Well,
are too
I don't
easy.
consider myself any bigger of a fan than most people. It's just for whatever reason, I have really good retention for like useless knowledge and trivia, like Harry Potter stuff. Stuff that I'm obsessed with. I retain it.
There's nothing useless about this knowledge.
No, there's not. Actually, I should. It's very useful. One of my favorite things is people say like, "Oh, what are you good at?" I'm like, "I'm probably one of the best you'll ever meet at Harry Potter trivia." And they're like, "Oh, I like that." And like movie, nope. Books. I always have to specify books. I know it inside and out. It's my favorite thing.
Book only. Yes, and I hope with this platform that one day we can prove that you are in the top 0.01% of Harry Potter book knowledge, but we'll see if we get there. So yeah, I mean, from that time, so we couldn't read Harry Potter. Well, most of us didn't read Harry Potter on our missions. And this actually has nothing to do with our journey, but I remember when you were doing a district training and you did a Jeopardy and Harry Potter was one of the categories. And one of the questions was, what's the name of the wand that's a part of the Deathly Hallows? And I didn't know. Like, I was like, oh, that's so familiar. And I was like, but I didn't know the answer. And I'm still ashamed of it. I mean, this happened in 2011?
Yeah, so, it would have been 2011 or 10 or something. But I probably was like legitimately disappointed in you.
Yes, you were. I felt it.
Because I made that for you. But I guess you were too focused on actual mission work.
I mean, I told you, I came up with my excuse. I led with my excuse early in the pod where I read Deathly Hallows one time. And
I mean, also, there's like many answers it could have given. There's several names, Scott.
And you listed all three of them right after. And I felt like an idiot. I don't think about this moment like all the time, but I don't not think about it all the time. It was horrible. It was so embarrassing. So yeah, there were a couple other books I had to read when I came home. My sister was like, you have to read The Host. You have to read some other Stephanie Meyer books. I feel like The Maze Runner was really big when I got home. So I had to read some of these crappy trilogies. Also, The Host, not a crappy trilogy. That's just a one book, and it's amazing. It's a great book. Read Twilight, Hunger Games. So I was reading some other stuff, but I was reading Harry Potter. And yeah, you were a big reason for that. Like, I thought of you as I read, and then as I read, I thought of questions and kept feeding you questions. And it was around 2020 where I really hit a breaking point. 8 years after we got home from our mission, where I hit a breaking point where I've asked you every question I could possibly think of, and I feel like I haven't stumped you, and it's not fun anymore and it was funny. I was reading Ashley, my sister's letters, and she starts some of her letters with like, I didn't want to get too obscure because that's not fun. And that's exactly where I was at in 2020, where it's just like, yeah, I could pick like a random word on a page and frame a question around it, but there's no cleverness to that.
Yeah, that's right.
But I feel, yeah. But I feel like legitimately in 7 years, like I never stumped you. And if I did, I feel like one time or twice I felt like I did. We just ended up arguing and we were like, actually, you're wrong in your answer because of XYZ. I can't think of like a good. I remember one where I was like, name the first 8 people who say Voldemort out loud. And I said Quirrell was one of them. And you were like, Quirrell doesn't count. And we got in a fight.
I don't even remember that at all. I don't know why I would say he doesn't count. Why wouldn't he count?
Because he had Voldemort in his face. And I don't know.
I regret my take. And I submit my apologies. I think this is important to know, though, that like you and I we've known each other since 2009, May 27th, 2009. And we have basically been in more or less constant communication since.
This is true. we go through from app to app. We have a little bit of a iMessage app, which we're heavy in now, but we went from GroupMe to Telegram, back to iPhone group message, and
Stopped in
those three
Google
group
Allo, which was a fun
True.
diversion.
I literally got a Google phone because of you. So
yeah, and I don't regret that. I think it was fine, but Apple got better, and I'm glad to be back on the iPhone train.
I loved my time as a Pixel owner. It was probably the lowest time in my marriage, but I really enjoyed it. So
mine too.
Thank you for helping me explore.
That's the biggest thing. But no, I just wanted to frame that because we've been in constant communication, not just about Harry Potter, but about pretty much everything. So, but Harry Potter has been the two things: Harry Potter and arguing about basketball stuff has basically been the through line of our entire friendship. And it's not just us, it's our other friends too, but we're definitely the main about Harry Potter stuff. But it's never stopped. And it's been 16 years.
It is 16 years. Yeah, you're right. This is great framing. So, I mean, maybe would you say 15% of our, maybe that's too high because we talk a lot about sports and we're all going through this. Well, some of us are going through the same stuff in life. Half of us are going through the same stuff in life and half of us are going through the other same stuff in life. And so, yeah, we talk about everything. I would say 10% of our conversations are about Harry Potter. That's probably too high. But what do you think that percentage would be? What were you going to say?
No, go ahead. I was just trying to think.
I was like, well, how often do you think Harry Potter would come up without us there? I'd say it'd be
almost never.
100-fold less. Yeah.
Almost never. No one would talk about it. But I don't think anyone's really mad when we do talk about it, right?
No. Well, they're amazed by you. Trevor, I think, would literally sit and watch you answer questions for 2 hours. Well, he's done that, so that's actually happened. But
that's actually happened multiple times. But yeah, that is, so it's been a through line of everything, and then so more backstory about why I love the books, or not, or why I don't want to dive into that, but just I've read the books millions of times, whatever. But the other biggest part is listening. Every time, we would go on car trips when I was a kid, and we would go from Texas to Virginia or Texas to out west. And we would listen to Harry Potter as a family. So that was a huge part of that. And then every night when I would go to bed, I had a CD player, and I had back then we didn't have cool ear pods and headphones and stuff, right? So I had these headphones that were kind of flat, they weren't over the ear, they weren't over the head like this. They were kind of flat. They hooked over your ear, but they were a little circle. And I would put it in my pillow with my CD player, which is a Philips CD player that was silver, under my pillow, and then the headphone would go on top of the pillow, but underneath the pillowcase, right? So every night going to bed, I would be listening to the sweet sounds of Jim Dale, and I would just rotate through books. And I was also carefully burning these on our iMac to keep track of them and stuff. So that was a huge part of, I'd listen to them. So when I read, my voice is in my head is Jim Dale talking, which is a whole nother topic. I could give you a dissertation on why Jim Dale is better than the other guy, who's fine, but Jim Dale, come on, is so much better than the British version.
I think we should put a pin for, let's make that a segment on a pod.
Yeah, it's worth
the pitch. About. You've got me beat there. I've definitely listened to them all at least once, but it was later in audible times, not in the early days. But yeah, I feel like you would say that. I would ask you a question, and it'd be I can hear Jim Dale telling me the answer. It's
yes,
right
I can, and I still do to this day. I listen to
awesome.
Harry Potter books when I go to bed. Sometimes I'll throw in other books, but it's almost always Harry Potter because, I'm reading a book about George Washington. Well, listening to a book. I'm not a whatever. not that cool. But I don't want to listen to it when I go to sleep because I'll miss something I don't actually know. But when I do Harry Potter, it's like just recycling it, and it makes me so happy when I go to sleep.
When you picture George Washington, do you picture a large, bald, black man who's really good at rapping?
Yes, that's what I assume everyone does.
It honestly is a little hard to like. I first think of like a guy in a wig, but then almost immediately after think of I don't know the actor's name, but I love him. He's my favorite part of Hamilton. So, anyways,
Christopher Jackson,
my boy.
See, uses knowledge.
He was so good that he made me not like the first time I saw it off Broadway, where I thought all the other rappers were fine, and then this old guy came out to be George Washington, and he was just not even close, and I couldn't handle it. I
wanted to cry when I watched it on Disney Plus. When I finally saw like the real thing on Disney Plus, like his delivery of one last time was like freaking incredible. Made me want to cry.
He's amazing. Yep. Exactly. Anyways,
also he sings in Moana.
Is he the dad?
Yeah, he's the singing voice.
Right. Right.
He's not Polly, so they're not going to put him in the
good call.
Talking
need
voice,
any of that.
He's the singing voice.
Yeah. Going back to how I didn't have any Harry Potter on CDs or anything like that. We once had to drive my dad's, now my sister's, 54 Chevrolet from its starting place in North Carolina. No, I think we were taking it from Virginia. He had it towed up to Virginia, and then he brought it from Virginia to North Carolina to show his dad. And there was no radio, and we didn't really have anything. It was me and my little brother and my dad. There was no AC, and it would get overheated, and we'd have to pull over. It's like a 5-hour trip from Mount Airy to Ashburn, and it took like 7.5 hours. And I read Harry Potter for almost the entirety of it. I just read it out loud to the car as the only thing that we could listen to because we had nothing else. It was clearly horribly planned. I don't know how we were so unprepared, but maybe we were actually all excited to just read Harry Potter. But I vividly remember it, and it was a great experience.
That's a great experience. I have memories driving in the mountains in Virginia listening to Harry Potter.
Beautiful. So this is all great background. You're amazing at this, and maybe we'll just cut me out of the podcast and we'll just do you. But at this point, sometime in 2020, I just kind of had a revelation where, again, I kind of had made it my goal to stump William literally since that day in 2009. And I was failing, and I was just getting more and more obscure, and it wasn't fun. And then I realized I had to change gears, and I had to expand. I had to get you with volume, not with obscurity. And the first time I really succeeded at this was when I asked you, name the 19 individuals who say aloud the word Voldemort in the text. And I remember your reaction. I took a screenshot of it. I have a screenshot of it. Again, we have.
You
all
do?
the apps.
I gotta see that.
I'll have Cassie put it on the screen. But anyways, you were elated with joy and all caps. Expressing your gratitude for the question.
Yeah, because it's one like I've spent my life thinking about Harry Potter, but I didn't think of that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think like that. Like, that was just a thing that like you came up with, and like that's the perfect kind of question.
As I thought of this, as I've thought about our relationship, have you seen the Bruce Willis movie? Dang it, I can't even remember what it's called. It's Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis is like kind of a superhero. Unbreakable. At one point, Samuel L. Jackson is like, it's my calling. I got to look up the real quote. It's my calling to find like the opposite of me. Like, he's a broken man who just breaks all the time. He's like, I felt like it's been my calling to find the opposite. And like, I feel like I will never have the knowledge that you have, and I've never cared to or wanted to try. But I feel like, it's just been my calling to test that brain of yours.
Do you want to go through the 19 right now? Do you think I can do it?
Yeah, I can. Well, it's obviously a premier card.
Yeah, show the people the card. I want to
trivia.
see this card.
Oh, well. Let me get it. I'm unprepared.
I'm going to start naming some. So obviously, Dumbledore.
There it is.
Says it.
And the question is phrased excluding Lord Voldemort in any form, which we already talked about, will not include. Quirrell is not Voldemort. Name 19 figures who say aloud Voldemort.
Yeah, so off the rip here, let's do. I mean, obviously, there's Dumbledore. Hagrid does, obviously, when he tells Harry the name. Don't make me say it again. Nah, I can't spell it. Hagrid's intelligence kind of varies. It went up as the books go on.
He got kicked out of school at 13, and they don't teach you writing. So,
and he's a half giant. So you know what? He wasn't starting with the stack deck anyway. Then like pretty much most people are like in the Order of the Phoenix. So like Sirius, Kingsley, Moody, Hermione ends up saying it. Ron says it. Ginny says it. Let's see. There's some weird ones. So like for some reason, like
weird ones that nobody else can get.
The weird ones. This is the kind of stuff. This is a preview of why this game is. Also, this is a level 7. This is like the hardest it possibly gets. This is the point. You're not supposed to get them all.
Exactly.
So
thank you, William.
Fudge does say it once in I believe in the 4th book, and then in Goblet of Fire, Peter Pettigrew says it. Which again, that's a kind of a weird one, right? So like when you go back and think about these things, that's why it's so fascinating. Like Peter Pettigrew, he wouldn't say it. He's a cowardly loser.
He says it as he's confessing how scared why he let his friend be murdered because he was so scared of this person who everyone else is scared to say his name, but not this guy.
Yeah, but like anything, this is a book where like it developed over time, like and thankfully she's not like Lucas, who's going to go back and change a million things. Like it's fine. Like if you were rewriting it today, he would probably not say it, but who cares? Let's see who else. Quirrell says it, like we talked about. Quirrell does say it.
Also unlikely.
Yeah, right. So, let's see. McGonagall does. Hestia Jones says it, and she says it when in the 7th book when they're asking about like, do they not know the unique place you have in the anti-Voldemort movement? That's where she's anti-Voldemort movement. That's what she says. Bill says it. I say Ron, Kingsley. Grindelwald says it.
Yes, he
and
does.
Then both Barty Crouches.
He's the last person.
Both Barty Crouches say it.
I believe you have them all.
I don't know how many.
That's 19
right now.
I
feels
think
like all of them. The Barty Crouches one, that's another one that's like kind of weird. I could see Senior maybe saying it.
Right. I could see Senior saying it.
Senior saying it, yeah, I could see that.
He's a brave man. He pretends to be brave.
I think he is brave. He's just a selfish turd. But
there might be one that you missed. I'll read them. You tell me if you said it. This is in order that they say it. Dumbledore.
This is also the harder part about it because, like, you say 19. Like, I can't keep track of how many I said in my head.
I've thought about like how I need to provide like a dry erase marker so you can just cross them off as you go. Because like,
but like the point of this is that like, how many can you get? Like, if you got 10, that's great. Or your team got 10 or whatever. Really,
the point, yeah, exactly. Can you get more than the guy next to you and just set a time limit and have fun? I think you got them all. Dumbledore, McGonagall, Hagrid, Harry, Quirrell, Lupin, Sirius, Pettigrew, Crouch Senior, Crouch Junior as Moody, Fudge, Real Moody, Hermione, Ginny, Hestia Jones. Bill was the only one I was thinking. I don't know.
I said Bill. I said Bill. I know I said Bill.
See, every time I accuse you of being wrong, it's just like, no, I wasn't. But this one's real. That was unfair of me to say. Ron, Kingsley, and Grindelwald. Kingsley. So I over exaggerated your excitement on this. As always, I texted, I have a Harry Potter question, and you immediately respond, I'm here. And then I kind of explained, basically, I've tried to think of clever ways to trick you, and here's where I'm at. And then I asked the question, and you respond, great question. I'm going to start working on the list. How'd you look this up, by the way? And then I told you that I just searched for all the times that it says Voldemort. And when you came back half a day later and you had Kingsley listed, I said, no, I don't think Kingsley says it. And you were like, yes, Kingsley does say it, but you wouldn't have found it by searching Voldemort because Voldemort is not surrounded by his name. We are told that he says Voldemort off page. And that to me just makes this my favorite question ever. So
that's a good one.
There you have it. So that happened in April of 2020. And since then, I've been working to create this game and see if anyone besides William might want to play it. And here we are. I created 349 other questions. And now because of that game, I thought it could be worth having a podcast. And yeah, that's what's brought us here today.
I love it.
I love it too. That was a hard 30 minutes on our journey. I didn't think it would take quite that long. There's a couple things we skipped over. I had in there, the HBO show where you refused to apply because you knew it would be too much about the movies. So I applied instead, and of course didn't make it because I'm not smart enough. But I did make it 3 rounds in. I feel like you would have made it. They would have been astounded by your knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I should have. My sister's been on Celebrity Jeopardy. It could have been.
Yeah, I watched her episode. She was awesome.
Yeah. Dang.
You would have won. Well, you would.
I wouldn't have won. There's some the movie stuff. I just would have. I could have made my statement though. I could have been like,
just middle finger up every time it's movie only.
Just something, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. It's like
Chappelle Show reference. Very nice.
You can tell how old we are.
Yes. Well, I thought about this. I was just like, are we going to be diverse enough as podcasters? And then I thought, I don't think we have to be, but we're born within months of each other. We were both born in very religious households of the same religion.
Technically, we were born within miles of each other, too.
True. Both born in beautiful Northern Virginia.
Fairfax County, you, I guess, Loudoun. I don't
know. Yeah, I think I keep, my mom says I wasn't born in Fairfax Hospital, but I was, and she's wrong. So I was born in Fairfax.
Yeah, which technically isn't even part of Fairfax. It's just like its own thing within Fairfax, Falls Church.
But anyways, we have a lot of similarities. We both hate LeBron. We both hate Duke. And are we going to be diverse enough? But we don't have to be diverse. I mean, we can agree on a lot of stuff, but we still disagree a lot, which
we do. Fun, yeah. Also, you mentioned one of the things. Tim Duncan is better than Kobe Bryant. I just wanted to say that. That's one of the things we bonded over too.
All right. Well, those were the big ideas I wanted to get through. Now I've got some gimmicks. Unless there's anything else you want to go through on the journey.
No, nothing particular. Look, Harry Potter is something I think about. It's the most important book of my lifetime aside from Holy Scripture. And it's definitely the book I've read the most, even more than any scripture. So
that's a fact. I mean, First Nephi, if you count that as a book, it'd be up there, but I don't know.
But no, it's a constant throughput. And one of the greatest joys of my life has been sharing it with my 4 children. In fact, my youngest, I have young twins. They're 4, about to be 5. He came up to me today when they got home a couple hours ago, and he was like, "Dad, remember that part in one of the Harry Potter books when it goes, 'Mars is bright tonight'?" I was like, "Yeah, Thomas, I do remember that."
That is beautiful.
Because that's like a joke we have. Like, we always say that, and we say it in like Jim Dale's voice, "Mars is bright tonight." Ruddy stargazers. It's just something that we always say.
Never try to get a straight word. Yes. So we don't have to go into, you have a son who has a photographic memory. I don't know if that's fair to say, but anyway.
It is. It hurts. He's smarter than me in every possible way, and I get schooled all the time.
So anyways, my oldest, Maisie, does not have a photographic memory. She is 7, and she has a great reading level, and she loves reading, but she won't read anything unless it has pictures in it. So she's reading mostly graphic novels.
Dogman.
Exactly. So much Dogman, which she loves, and she's reading, and that's all that matters. But anyways, she struggled with Harry Potter. It was actually Remy, my 5-year-old, who was 4 at the time, who started our Harry Potter journey. Where at Costco they were selling the Christmas only, illustrated Christmas section only of Harry's first year at Hogwarts, and I was like, this could get my kids to read Harry Potter, and it worked. I got it, and I started going through, and it ends with kind of the Mirror of Erised, and Remy was just like, well, Dad, what happens next? And I was like, that's such a great question. And then we just started reading from there, and we kind of skipped the whole beginning of the first book. And then she was like, that was amazing. Can we read the second book? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And so we started reading the second book, and Maisie was there for the entire second book. And so they know the whole second book. And then Cassie was like, well, now they need to watch the movies. And I said, no, they can't watch the second movie without watching the first one. And they can't watch the first movie until they've read the first book. And they haven't read the first book. So
yeah, that's a hard and fast rule.
It is. So we started over on the first book. This is too much background. So we started over on the first book, and we are about to finish it. We are halfway through The Man with Two Faces. Harry just passed out, and they are dying. They are begging me to keep reading, and I said, you can read it if you would like, but we're going to let the suspense
Yeah, the illustrated books are a game changer. It's what
they are.
It's what the people want.
And that's what we're reading. We're reading the illustrated books.
Yeah.
Which is a picture every 5 pages, but it works. It gets them drawn back in when they get distracted.
Yeah, one other thing I want people to know about me is that the last thing, it just came to mind because there's my background. Whenever something hard happens in life, I retreat to Harry Potter. So what that means is the game that must not be named may have happened 12 years ago, about right now. The game that must not be named.
2013.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. So
sorry.
That happened, and I immediately I don't listen to any. If something bad happens in sports, because those are the two throughputs of our life. We like sports and we like Harry Potter and Star Wars and a million other things you can tell that we have. But yeah, I just ignore the world and listen to Harry Potter. That's what I do, and read, listen, whatever. Nothing else matters. Whether it's 2011 Rangers, 2011 LSU, 2013 game that must not be named, whatever it may be. It's how I deal
beautiful.
It's how I deal with
tough place to retreat. Yeah.
Totally healthy.
Who needs therapy when you have magic?
Works for me.
I have one more point with the kids, and then we'll get to the gimmick that I was really setting up, which is yes, I've been so proud. They've obviously watched me create this Harry Potter game and watch me, get a real product, and every single card that covers book 1, they can answer it, and it's like a source of pride for them. And I was quizzing my 12-year-old niece, and she was forgetting the question, level 1 question, name Malfoy's before a falling out in book 7, name Malfoy's 2 best friends. She was like, Goyle and dang it, what's his name? And I was like, Maisie. And I read her the question, and she just comes out in perfect salute and is like, Crab and Goyle, and then just turns around and walks away. And I was really proud. So
should be.
I want them to be competitive nerds, and they're on their way. So, but anyways, this stealing. Oh yeah, I was also thinking how we listen to all the same podcasts as well. How you have influenced me to listen to PMT and Bill Simmons and the Midnight Boys and House of R, and so again, it's just like we're the same person from a podcast perspective, but it's fine.
Yeah, your body is a lot better. But other than that,
should we do some shirtless pods just to make sure people know?
I've been eating too many tacos, man.
It's bulk season. We're fine. So anyways, this brings us to our next segment. Questions my children asked me about Harry Potter. As we were reading that part that you just mentioned, Mars is Bright Tonight, we learned that if you drink the blood of a unicorn, you live a half-life and you are cursed. And they said, Dad, tell us more about what that means. How are you cursed? And I said, I don't know. I'll ask William. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I actually don't know.
But this is
I don't know
like
what it's describing.
This is a good example of like what we talk about in our daily life, like in our stuff, because ultimately, like, there's not an answer to that, right? But it is fun to think about. um, and I think like it'll save you from death, right? Like it'll keep you alive. I don't. It's not about being immortal, but like a half-life, a cursed life, right? So I think it basically just kind of means like almost in the way that like when you bring someone back from the resurrection stone, like they're not really there. Like you might be alive, but your soul is broken. Your spirit is broken.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any of this context in the first book, but by the time you read the seventh book and you understand what a Horcrux is and what murder does to your soul, and that's what that's what Ferenz describes, right? He's like,
yeah,
you've killed something innocent, and that's basically
and maybe like killing a unicorn is essentially like the next worst thing to killing a human.
Yeah, it's like you have to split your soul in two. You've done I can't say the word, but irreparable damage to your soul. And I feel like that's what it's describing. It's what we get more detail on in the sixth and seventh books.
Because like you can tell, like the Quirrell has drank in the unicorn blood, so like Voldemort drank the unicorn blood, right? And so he lives a cursed half-life. Well, he already had, so like it doesn't make a Horcrux, but like a Horcrux. But you have a half-life. Like you'll never be happy. You will always be damaged and and there is some detail like actual cursed, right? Like you can't. This goes into my theory of why I don't particularly like the direction of the play. You're basically less of a human. You lost your humanity.
Right. I feel like no matter what you do, I don't know, maybe you can make up for it with remorse, as Dumbledore says, or is it Hermione? But anyways,
it's Hermione. I mean, she's the one who's explaining.
Hermione. Thank you. Apologies. As Hermione says, you can make up for it with remorse. Otherwise, I feel like when you die, you're going to be that ugly, crumpled baby instead of a beautiful spirit something. So,
you've like broken your soul, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. How evil.
Would you have to be? Okay. That was gimmick 1. I just have 2 more. Gimmick 2, this isn't actually a gimmick. This is just a discussion. But this is just something I noticed upon the reread. I'll ask it as a trivia question. I mean, it's in the show notes, so it's kind of cheating. But what potion is Harry required to make for his first year exam in potions class?
First year exam potions class. You put this in the show notes?
I did. I just wanted to say the word show notes because I say it all the time on podcasts and it sounds cool.
It does sound cool. Yeah. And for our throngs of followers, it will be
show notes.
I don't see it.
I wonder if it's not updated. It's the last one on there, but that's good because that makes this a real trivia question. So answer it, William. Think.
It's not sleeping potion. They do that later. The draft of living death. Forgetfulness potion, which is really ironic for what we're doing right here.
It's okay. So what you just did there, right? Like, your brain is a database. Like, I described this and why I created this trivia game, right? Where trivia is just binary. It's like you know it or you don't, and it's over. Except for a few questions where it's like you think about it, you go through your database in your mind, and then you find it and you get the right answer and you're super happy. That happens to you with every single question. And that's, again, for like the better part of a decade. I thought you were cheating. I thought you were just stalling to look it up. But now I can actually see your brain working where like you're playing back the tape literally in your head and you're thinking like, what is the line? And then it comes to you. Because your brain can do that, where most people's brains, it's just like, that's gone and you can't recall it.
Right. That's more or less how it works. But that is a really good, what level is that one?
So,
or that's not a level, I guess. That's
all of my questions are multi. So that's on like I think it's a level 6. It might be a level 7 of name 10 potions. If it's 10, then it's 7. Name 10 potions that Harry was required to make in potions class. But anyways, I read that with my children this week, and I started to think about what a forgetfulness potion would do, and I was wondering your thoughts on that. And then I'll share how I hope that it can be used. And then to me, it rises to the top of like potions I would want in the real world. But I was curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, is it is it make someone forgetful? Like you're poisoning them to make them dumber, which is one way to think of it. Or more likely, it's something to help you remember things, sharpens your mind, right?
Well, they have a wit sharpening potion, which is not a forgetfulness potion, right?
No, it's not. It's different. I was thinking about that because that is obviously banned in like the OWLs and stuff.
Right. I mean, because there is a wit sharpening potion. By the way,
an example of like the questions you used to ask me would be like, hey, who's the guy that made who tries to sell them like powdered dragon claw and other stuff?
Yes.
Dingle, Harold Dingle. But that's not a hard question.
It is for everyone else. His name is mentioned one time.
That's an easy question. Everyone remembers.
Ridiculous. I would definitely because there is a wit sharpening potion. I would definitely like to think that it is a poison, but I would like to think that you could use it. I would have we just talked about this, right? You said that you were jealous that I only read the Deathly Hallows once before college, and you would love to, experience it for the first time.
I got through it. I got it at midnight. And I was finished by sunrise, pretty much.
Yes, I've watched you do that with
7 hours of my life.
I was definitely 48 hours. I'm sure I had to sleep at least twice, but maybe just once. But I feel like, yeah, like if I take it in a small dose, I can like forget a movie that I just watched so that I could watch it again, or something like that. That's how I like to imagine the forgetfulness potion. And
not like a potion version of a remember all.
No, it's a forgetfulness potion, not a rememberness potion.
Yeah. So, I mean, is this like, think about how complicated like memory modification really is. Like that's real deal stuff.
It's true.
And this is like, I don't know. It's like a roofie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is just like hard drugs mixed with alcohol and make you forget.
Yeah, but like without the scary aspects of that.
Well, could be. I'm sure. Yeah, you drink too much, or
weird. There's half elves, right?
We're not ready for that.
Talk about that. We'll talk about another day.
But we will. Okay. Well, I was curious on your thoughts there.
I mean, that would be like a really useful one, right? But like the forgetfulness potion, like it must be like something that's super simple because first years are doing it. Because
true,
like just blanket it must be like for people who can't do like memory stuff. Because if a first year can make it, it's probably just really simple. Like it's going to blank out the last X hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever.
Yeah,
right? Like it would just be like, hey, look, you had a bad time, whatever, something happened, drink this, you forget about it. And it's like a set time of like, it'll erase a blanket erase of the last 4 hours or something like that.
The more that you say that though, you're probably right. It is it probably is a potion version of a remember all where
my first thought was the forgetfulness. Like it makes someone forgetful. That was my first thought of what it is.
I never moved past that first thought. That's me. My first thought is my only thought.
I think it's more fun if it's definitely that, though. I think it's way more fun.
You're probably right, though. It's like you give it to your grandpa when he has to go remember to pick up the grandkids, Cassie just texted me that we've been on for too long. And this brings us to our final segment, Fred or George. On November 23rd, 2021, I texted you, William, if we played a game called Fred or George, how do you think you would do? How do you think you responded?
Great. I don't know.
You said, I'd do incredible.
I would do incredible.
And then you said, what the hell is wrong with KD? So that fits. Okay. I have our first edition.
First edition. All right. Fred or George.
This is, yes, the first edition. This is the first edition of Fred or George. I'm gonna give you at least two right now, maybe three. Um, the first one is it Fred or George who goes through the platform at 9 3/4 first in Harry's first year?
Let's see.
I could expound upon that. It's not a hint, but I could give more context to what's happening.
Okay. Let's think. It's a 50-50.
It is 50-50.
I'm trying to think like who goes through first. I'm trying to think like realistically. I want to say.
I mean,
make you stare at my overbearing brow for a second.
I can give more context because the one who goes through first is also the one who delivers the joke of, honestly, woman, you call yourself.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah.
Right.
Like, so that would mean it's
Fred and George
Fred
joke.
Fred goes through first.
Fred is the one who delivers that joke, and therefore is the one who goes first. I was going to ask who delivers the joke, and I thought it'd be too easy, so I tried to make it.
That would be a little easy because everyone that's imprinted even in the moviegoers' minds. That part.
Yes. Okay. Follow up. Shortly thereafter, one of them goes to help Harry with his trunk. Who is the first one to come over and offer Harry help?
Who is the first one to offer Harry help? So they're coming over to help the trunk. One of them says, like, hey, come over here. Help me get this up. One of them's like, hey, like, do you need help? One of them says, do you need help first? Like that.
Want a hand?
Yeah.
Yes, please, Harry panted.
All right. I don't want any more context in this one. I
can't give you any more. I've read literally till the second where it's revealed.
Are you just pulling up the book? Is that what you got?
Yes.
All right. Let me think. So they get on. Ron does after that, Ron does Sunshine Daisies Buttermellow, turn this stupid fat rat yellow.
Not helpful, William.
No, that's not helpful. This is me stalling while I think. This is such a good one because the 50-50 nature of it makes it really easy and hard.
Right. I feel like you can't get any wrong. Otherwise, it's just like you had a 50-50 chance.
So the question is who spoke to Harry first?
That is correct.
Or the question is who, because they come back and introduce themselves. Like, hey, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Correct. I'm not asking who introduced.
And it was Fred who does that. I'm pretty sure. It's George. It's got to be George because it's a reverse. Because like he calls out to Fred. He's like, I'm pretty sure he's like calls out to Fred. He's like, hey, Fred, come here and help.
Oi, Fred.
Right? Oi, Fred. Nice.
I knew you'd get there.
The twins are the best.
You're right. This doesn't work for podcasting to watch your database go, but we'll figure this out. You already declared, well, congratulations. You're 2 for 2 so far. You already declared that George is the one who introduces them. That was going to be my third question.
Am I right about that? I'm pretty sure I am.
I was going to ask you and then let you sweat and then say, I don't think there's a definitive answer, but
I think what he says, well, no. I think Fred actually introduces.
This is what we get.
Because let me do this first. Because like he says, like we're Fred and George. Like they start with Fred. Like, did we introduce ourselves? We're Fred and George. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes, you are correct. So, would you automatically say your name first? You're probably right. Yeah.
That's the assumption. That was my assumption. That's why I said Fred. Because he says, like, we're Fred and George, right? We're George and Fred. You know, I'm William. If I was talking to yeah, I would think. Maybe.
They do. It is in that order, but for some reason I actually can't find it. This is also bad podcasting. But It's
Journey from platform 9 3/4.
I know. It's right here. Here's Ron talking to him. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Harry said, do we introduce Fred and George Weasley? Yeah, you're right. All right. As always, you've convinced me of an answer when I was trying to trick you.
But there is no definitive thing. He could be like standing there saying Fred and George. You know,
when we're running our own Harry Potter class for a college, we'll ask questions like this, and then there is no definitive answer, and you have to defend why you believe that's the correct answer, and that is what you have done. And I support you. You showed your work, and I approve. So full marks, 3 for 3. Congratulations.
Heck yeah.
Let's wrap this up. I've gone through the gimmicks. We'll have some more. How do you think this went?
Great. I mean, obviously, like, we've never done this before. It's gonna be a mess, but I've had fun every second. So, win.
I have also had fun. I feel
That's
like
all I care about.
To your point, about 3 different times you were like, "Yeah, we've already talked about this, and this is just us, in our normal day to day." And
It's
now
a natural continuation of.
Now our great grandchildren get to watch this. So, congrats, Scott William Hyatt III, for watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we want to say before signing off?
I got nothing. I'm just super excited to talk about this stuff.
We
touched on all sorts. There's just so much stuff to talk about. And then, like, I'm very excited for the show.
I think we should do some HBO.
Excited.
I think we should do some HBO series takes next week.
We should talk some casting and like all that stuff. And like,
what do you think?
What we hope, dream.
Exactly. I've got a lot of takes on what I hope and dream out of this, and I'm setting myself up for failure. But I'm still excited. Like, I'm truly excited. I actually don't think it'll come close to my expectations, but I'm still super excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I mean, honestly, we could just like, I'd be interested to see like what this turns out as, and we could just completely redo this again next week in a better version of this entire episode after we've learned something about how it turned out. Like, I'm moving around and things are making noise, and like I don't know how to stop it.
I'm gonna have to be far away from Cassie when she edits this, because she's gonna look over at me and be like, "You guys cannot do that ever again." And I'm gonna be like, "I'm sorry, we didn't know." And she's like, "I can hear that." She's just gonna have to tell me all at once. If she just
because like I'm just like constantly like
thing,
touching stuff and like moving around.
She's gonna tell me I'm not looking at the camera. She's gonna tell me I'm too close.
I keep trying. My eyes look super blue when I look at the camera, though.
You're so beautiful. It's funny. Am I blurry for you? You're like, your video quality is not good, but I don't think it matters. I think it'll be good.
I'm the exact same. Yours is super blurry. Mine is crystal clear.
I'm sure it'll be crystal clear on the video. Well, I think this is a wrap. We come back next week. We plan to update this podcast weekly, and when the HBO show comes out, we'll definitely center it around those drops.
Heck.
But you feel good about weekly?
I feel great about weekly. I'm just excited to have a place to talk to you more and talk about Harry Potter stuff. That's all that matters.
It's going to be awesome. And the most important thing is that people need to buy this game. And that is why this podcast really exists. Because, again, our friend Trevor has been trying to get William out into the world to, the HBO show and multiple other, just fly him out for a Stump the Schwab for his company and things like that.
Cowards. They wouldn't do it.
He's been trying to get you to write books. He's been trying to get you to do anything. And now that there's a game to sell, a podcast is worth doing it. It would be hard for me to tell people I'm doing a podcast without, like, I'm trying to sell this game.
Yeah, and thankfully it took you someone who's much more motivated, apparently, to actually act on things.
I'm saying half of the thoughts in this book.
It did take half a decade though for this to kind of happen.
Legitimately 5 years of pretending to work at my full-time job while really just clicking away and reading Harry Potter every night and taking notes and then translating those notes. Well, Cassie will make me do like another half pod, not a half pod, but she'll do an in-depth video on how freaking long this took. But half of the thoughts in this book are from you, even if I misquoted them. So, yeah.
Some of the best memories of my life, driving through rural Oregon with you, looking at that, and then driving back from Louisiana to San Antonio last year.
And because of that, those were tax deductible trips for me. So I appreciate that.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Business expense, baby.
And again, drowning my sorrow in a traumatic loss to Harry Potter.
It's a traumatic loss, the LSU game that we went to.
Yes, it was raining. It was terrible.
That was the best night of my life.
Kickoff was great. And then it went downhill.
The kickoff was unbelievable. Maybe we should do a pod on how great Death Valley is. Should we just do a sports podcast instead? All right. I don't know what our sign off is, but we'll be back next week. And shout out to Trevor, because I don't know if anyone else will listen to this. And
my kids are going to watch it whenever it goes.
I took a video of Maisie as I was putting her to bed, just sat in a chair and pretended to be me of what I was going to do in the podcast. It was pretty funny. Maybe,
yeah,
I don't know.
My kids were like, "You're going to be on YouTube?" Like, kind of.
Technically, anyone could be on YouTube.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, technically, I'm already on YouTube. They just don't know that from something from 2009 or 8.
So you're opening your letter.
Yeah, that's out there somewhere.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's true. I have a dance video. High school Mr. Spartan.
They don't even know. YouTube was our generation. The Lonely Island invented the reason YouTube is useful.
That's a good point. I watched in my pants many times in a dorm room at BYU. They're the best.
Got that.
In my pants, not appropriate for this pod. We're going to have to figure out.
You better keep it appropriate. I'm like,
Yeah. Just bleep out the part. So it's just in my pants. Just get big beeps going. It'll be awesome. Okay. Well, let's finish this. I love you, and play the outro music, which is hilarious. It's the Gregorian chants. It'll be awesome. You'll love it.
I can't wait to hear it.